think that it's better than when I was in middle school. That being said, I think there's more diversity, so I think it's better.
Like stereotypes and things that are just like what other people think of us and not what we think of us, and I think that's what should be prioritized.
I feel like it's appealing more towards like the white male population rather than to, you know, us queer people of color.
I think we are I think that we're making strides. I don't think it's enough. I know a lot of people's argument is that it's diversity for the sake of diversity, but I think that's a really privileged stance to take. That's a stance of someone who has had representation in various forms of media all of their life for decades, for centuries, and I don't think there is a thing as diversity for the sake of diversity, because the world is diverse, but it's not necessarily always reflected in the media we consume.
There are people who aren't queer creating these genres for queer people. It's either you fit this or you don't, and it's not so black and white.
Unpopular opinion, I don't think they're terrible. I just think that they shouldn't be the only stereotypes that exist, because I mean, when it comes to certain things, it's not like the most negative stereotype you could possibly have about a discriminated group of people, but at the same time, those stereotypes do come from straight people. They don't necessarily come from us, and when they're perpetuated by us, it could be coming from a place of feeling like you could never identify as anything else.
I think queer stereotypes are unwarranted. I think it's based off homophobia. In any given situation where there is something negative to be portrayed, that the media uses those stereotypes to keep us as a generalized and marginalized group.
That's a hard question to answer. When it comes to stereotypes, good or bad, because you know what? Stereotypes are just a way of telling people this is how you should be, and if you're not like that, then something's wrong with you. And the point of queer representation is to tell queer people you can be however you are. It's about accepting people as they are. Even if they identify within this community or this or that, they're still themselves. And when it comes to stereotypes, even if they're positive, it's still contributing to this bigger idea of like pigeonholing somebody into something.
I think it's about being honest and transparent with your own personal story. So, me personally, I know who I am and I tell people exactly who I am when they ask.
By not being afraid to put out unpopular opinions, I think one of the main things that is our detriment is feeling like our opinion is too woke for people to understand. And by like saying that, oh, you know, I'm gonna have this opinion, but I'm not gonna share it with people because I'm afraid that people will think that I'm being too pushy. Like for example, with the trans kid who's afraid to get people to use their pronouns, their preferred pronouns. They're scared because they don't want people to think that they're being like, you know, bitchy about it or whatever. And I think that kind of narrative is what's causing us to be afraid to say what we feel. So I think as soon as we start changing the dialogue to, I'm saying this not because I'm pushy, but because it's what I believe in, then we'll be more comfortable with sharing it with the world.
Helping to create more content that's geared toward us. But right now, I think it's just about making sure that we do support those who are making that content.
Just being themselves and not trying to like subscribe to any sort of stereotype or generalization that they see, because sometimes I know it's hard not to when you don't see enough representation and then you finally find something that's like, wow, this isn't overtly negative. If it's still not you, don't feel pressure to try and change yourself to fit that. Even if that's what's generally accepted, if that's the cool queer, if that's not you, then don't try and be anything else, because you know, real representation is representation of real people.